Manchester United. So, Manchester United are currently going through a change of, not full change of ownership, but you got Sergio Rafferty coming in, about to purchase 25% of the club. And with that 25% is apparently, I say apparently because I don't trust the Glazers, apparently sporting control. And we're already seeing some kind of change happening. So you've got Richard Arnold gone. He will be gone by the end of the year. He has been sacked. They'll say mutual termination. Nah, his ass got booted. You know what I'm saying? You've got potentially John Murtaugh and other members of the Man United footballing structure recruitment team about to leave as well. And coming in, reportedly, is the ex-Juve CEO and PSG CEO, Jean-Claude Blanc. You've also got potentially the likes of Paul Mitchell and even Michael Edwards, who was at Liverpool, potentially coming into the mix and trying to change the football structure at Man United. I want to ask you guys the question. I'll go to Rory first. What do you think will come from these kind of changes at Manchester United? Do you think this will change anything, or do you think same old will happen? The Glazers will be the Glazers, and there'll be no real change at Manchester United.
I think there will be change. There will definitely be change, and it should be positive change. I think you look top to bottom, kind of behind the scenes at United, it's been a shambles for quite a long time, and it definitely can't get worse. I think the recruitment's been awful for years. In terms of, you've had some decent signings here and there, but generally for the amount you've spent, you've not got anywhere near the squad to show for it. I think, even stuff like when Ronaldo was leaving, the dirty laundry that he had about the club, it can't be a bad thing to make these changes. It's just how much of a difference they make. And one of the worrying things I saw was, I can't remember where it came from, but it was basically saying that it would be recruitment would be taken off Eric Ten Hag, and the recruitment players that would be bought wouldn't be what Ten Hag necessarily wants, but it'll be players that they want. That for me is quite worrying. I think you need to find a balance of, unless they're planning on getting rid of Ten Hag, I think you need to find a balance of what the manager wants to work with, and then making sure that from a business perspective, it works out as well. So I think that's probably the most worrying thing that I've seen.
Yeah, I hear that. LB, what do you, from initially, when you hear these kind of names being linked to Manchester United for the football structure, what as a rival, what do you think that could potentially mean?
Well, first of all, I got to say, I disagree with Rory, man. I think they need to get someone in there to make the signings and take that off Ten Hag. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that he can't have any input, right? But I think Ten Hag's shown since he's been at Manchester United that his signings are very, very suspect, and he's blown the best part of £400 million on a lot of trash. Some decent stuff in there, but even the decent stuff is now you're fading. You're looking at Casemiro, he's still got 4 years left on his deal, and his legs look like they're going. So I think that there is a real problem there with Ten Hag and his signings. He raided the Eredivisie, which was a massive, massive red flag. So I think getting somebody in there above him, a sporting director, someone who knows the style, and what you're effectively doing then, you say, right, this is how we want you to play, Ten Hag. This is what City do. This is what obviously Arteta is slightly different, I think. But at City have you got Tiki who makes the signings. Pep will have an input, yeah. But ultimately, we're buying players to fit the system. And then if Ten Hag can't coach those players, he'll be gone and he brings someone in. But where United have struggled is over the last decade is that they've obviously let the managers make the signings, but because the club has no identity of how they play football, you're signing players who are completely different to the next manager. So you've had Moyes, who's more of a hard worker, defensive player. You've had Van Gaal, possession-based player. You've had Mourinho, completely opposite, back to defensive. Then you had Ole, counter-attacking. And now you got Ten Hag, who's meant to be playing possession-based football. So for me, getting a sporting director and saying, this is the way United want to play. Whatever that way is, that's up to United. Whether it's possession, whether it's counter-attack, whatever. But these are the players that we're going to be signing. The sporting director, along with the scouts and the scouting network, can then identify players to bring in. I'm not completely dismissing what Rory's saying. Of course, Ten Hag has to have a say, but ultimately, I think the club are going to have to start bringing in players, and he can have a little bit of an input. But you've got to take that responsibility off him, because he's proved to me that he can't do that, bro. I agree with Roy with the rest of he said. I think this is going to be a positive move for United. I know a lot of United fans will still not like it because they want Glazers out, but I think you've got to come to the realization that this is probably the best you're going to get. You know what I mean? Or unless someone's willing to massively, massively, massively overpay for the football club, which isn't going to happen. This is probably the best you're going to get, and I think it's probably a positive move. But getting a sporting director in, I think that's going to be a good start. That's going to be a good start, and that will then prove whether or not Ten Hag can actually take this team further. Because if you give him the players and say this is how we want you to play, and he can't do it, then ship him off. You know what I mean? But the United get themselves into a bit of a bad situation because you can't really just let a manager spend 400 million on his players, which obviously all the players that they've signed are his, and then just say sit a bit, pal, and then bring in a new manager. Because what about if the new manager's like don't like Anthony, don't like Malacia, don't like Casemiro, don't like Onana, don't like Martinez? Then what are you going to do? So I think this is a step in the right direction. I think what United are doing is they're going to take a step into the 21st century.
I've been waiting for that for
I think that's what they're going to do. Welcome to the party. You know what I mean? That's what I would say.
Yeah, no, I hear where you're both coming from. It's an interesting one because Rory brought up a good point there. It's like if they're already saying, because I've seen it as well, Muppeteers did report that they actually in January, especially, they're not going to just buy him players that he wants. It'll be no, we're trying to start bringing players that we would want to bring, and you have to work with that. Is that a sign of actually Ten Hag may not be the guy that we want? Because there's been murmurings of maybe De Zerbi coming in, like the whole thing of Ten Hag's position is not of concern, like it's fine. We all know what that means, really. He ain't fine. You know what I mean? These guys are gonna be looking at it. They've had some reports saying that they're okay, they're happy to have him, but like if results don't change, he will be gone. So
KJ, I don't think that's a direct. He's under pressure. I think obviously naturally, like any manager in the Premier League, you're under a certain degree of pressure. But I think that is just the new owners coming in, Jim Ratcliffe and his crew. I think that is just them recognizing that United cannot continue to allow the managers to make the signings because that's not going to work. You know what I mean? You've got to get the identity. This is going to be our identity. And we're going to make the signings according to the identity. And we're going to get a manager, not a manager. Let's start using the word manager as well. We're going to get a coach to coach these set of players to play this style of way. And they'll give him a year. And if he can't do it, see you later. Because that's as far as it goes for me. But I think they'll give him a bit of time. Because at the end of the day, he has also spent 400 million. So you probably want to give him till the rest of the season at least.
You know what would be interesting? We've seen Ten Hag under a good structure at Ajax. We saw the way that he played, the brand of football that he brought to Ajax at that time. It was good, and that's why we went for him in the first place, because he's like, yo, this guy looks like it could go on. Rory, do you think Ten Hag can change or will change with these new people? Say if they come in and say, look, we want you to play like this. Don't worry about the players. Don't worry about you having to pick whoever. We've got you. You just focus on coaching. Do you think you'll be able to turn around that dressing room and get United playing some good football and getting some results?
Yeah, I think so. He's not going to have a choice for starters, but it will take pressure off him. I think from the minute he came in, there's been pressure to. Clearly, he's been having to deal with a lot of the signings or making those choices. And it's one of them where it's like, he wanted Anthony, fine, but he probably wanted Anthony for like 45, 50 million. And then when they're coming to him being like, okay, it's going to cost 80 million, he's in a position where it's like, well, you either take him and then that's going to affect his budget down the line, or you don't. So I think a lot of that pressure is being put on him. If you take that responsibility off him and he does just go back to coaching, I think that could help him. And he doesn't have the pressure, the media pressure. If everyone knows that they're not his signings, then that does take a lot of pressure off him. And I think it puts a lot of pressure on Sir Jim Ratcliffe and that lot that come in, because already there's a lot of United fans that don't want them. If they then say, we're not going to let Ten Hag make any signings, we're going to make them ourselves, and it doesn't work out from there, I think that's far more problematic for them than it is for Ten Hag. Ten Hag's got the record at Ajax of creating a team that plays good football. So, yeah, I think he can do it. I think some of his comments have been a bit peculiar. The way he said he'll never be able to play football like that again, as if that Ajax team was full of superstars. He should be able to adapt, and I guess he's just got to get given the time, and it's whether or not he is given that time.
Yeah, I hope he can turn it around. I believe that he can. He's shown that he's adaptable by coming in the first place and being able to get third and win a trophy. This season has just been, I say, he's just like lost his mind. I think so much has gone on behind the scenes. Obviously, you had Jadon Sancho, you had Anthony Greenwood, at the time Ronaldo, David De Gea. Like so there's so many things going on. Plus the whole are we getting bought over takeover talk. So as a manager, I do sympathize with him in terms of that aspect. There's a lot behind the scenes that's going on. But in terms of on the pitch, there's things I'm just like, bro, like you are clearly just making big mistakes that you weren't last season.
I think he's stuck. Yeah, but KJ, I think he's stuck, man. I think that he's, like Rory said, coming out saying, I ain't playing this style of football or whatever. Like that's a weird thing to say, man. Because like I'm pretty sure every single person watching this stream thought that when Ten Hag came to United, that they was going to play a possession-based style. Yeah, that I'm pretty sure everyone can agree on that. Yeah. So to come out and say that, that's proper weird. And I just feel that like he's in this weird position of not really knowing what to do with the players he's got, and he doesn't know how to set them up. Yeah, I watch United quite a lot, and they play different styles quite regularly. United fans will validate that. Sometimes they play defensive and trying to hit you on the break. Sometimes they will try and pressure, and I just feel like he doesn't really know what to do. And that's probably maybe he's feeling the pressure in terms of he's got too much to do. I think Rory's right. I think bring in this guy, who will make the signings and say, right, you are now purely a coach, and we want you to coach the players to play possession-based football or whatever the style is, right? Yeah. We'll deal with the signings. We'll deal with all that. You're now just purely a coach. Get on with it, yeah? Anything football player related, the club will make the decision, not you. You know what I mean? Again, like with some of the players, he's had a lot of the say. We'll deal with that and just let him coach and then see what happens. I think he's probably had too much to deal with, to be fair. And again, that probably just shows you what a mess United were in.
Yeah, we're in a big mess, and that moves on to my last point before we move on to the next topic. We are such a mess that I know we wanted Glazers gone. I was championing Glazers going for so long, and I still do. But there was only two candidates in the running for Man United in the end. One of them was Sir Jim, and he was trying every single way. You saw him go from 100 to 75 to 50 to now 25. So he's saying, I'll do whatever it takes just to get in the door. Where you had the other side, Sheikh Jassim, who is like, I just want it like this. Like, I will just give you this amount of money and you don't take it, leave it. Like, and the approach that won is Sir Jim's. And as a United fan, yes, I would have loved Qatari owner. Yeah, me and Lewis could have been sitting here on our oil rigs, you know what I mean, sipping some good drink if we got Qatar as well, you know what I'm saying? But
that's shameless, bro. After the last decade, of you United fans and everyone else getting on the back of us, you got to join us, that's how it is. Shameless.
All right, now listen. I ain't one of them, man. Listen.
Oil me you up, are baby. One of them. Sure, bro. You 100% one of them,
baby. You know what I'm saying? Oil me up. I'm here for it. Shameless. But yeah, like that's not the case. And as United fans, it's either this and some systemic change in the structure, or no one at all. And we've experienced no one at all for 20 years.